that Stonewall was so important, that business of saying no, is it's the first time that people suddenly, I mean, it was internalized, it was a conscious thing. It said, I'm not sick, or even if I'm sick, it doesn't make any difference. I have rights. I'm not going to put up with it anymore. I mean, it was just a rage that came out. I'm sure it was similar to what women first felt, and when the women's movement started, and definitely the civil rights struggle. I mean, when you've had it, you've had it. And when you know that there's no damn reason why you shouldn't be able to hold a job and live and love just like everyone else, something just changes in you and you can never go back. Well, when I was growing up in the 50s, the only way you could find out about being homosexual or lesbian was through books. And one of the ways that we know that children develop their self-confidence and their self-image and so on is by what they read, which is why it's so important that the Seattle School District finally put some books into elementary schools that deal with gay children. Because in contradiction to the right-wingers in the Washington, whatever that group is, that was opposing the books, what I had to figure out who I was three strange women, the strange young wife, strange sisters, strange circle, strange sisters but by a different mail offer, strange fires, strange delights, the strangest sin, well, strange nurse. But that's not all. With these steak knives, you also get the damned one. What made her act like a man? And when it sold real well, it got a new cover. And then there were the really, really helpful things for your own self-esteem, and so there is warped desire, the old-time favorite, warped women, and just plain up-front abnormal. So I think it's really important. This book is, it's not scholarly. I mean, there was a lot of reading and scholarship that went into it, but it's really a primer to try and get people, you know, re-enthused and understand that if you're going to make a program, you have to know where your oppression comes from, you have to know who your enemies are, even in your own camp, and you've got to be willing to take it all the way to the end, or just get out of the way. Sorry.
Tamara, I know you've been in Seattle for most of your life. Were you born here?
Mm-hmm.
What was it like prior to Stonewall in Seattle for lesbians and gays?
Well, just briefly, it was a horror show. You know, I started going to gay bars when I was 17, and you had absolutely, being underage was one problem, but even if you were overage, the police did regular sweeps of the bars, and you were arrested and beaten and hassled, and when there was a bar raid, they published the names of the people in the raid in the paper, so they'd lose their jobs. They had cops in restrooms and parks, not as much as they do today, but I mean, not more than they do now. I don't know, I haven't been in parks. Let's see. I wanted to be a lawyer, but I found out that there was a morals committee. After you passed the bar exam, they had this committee that then vetted you to see if you were moral or not, which meant straight and not communist. So what was the point? I mean, surely someone would have talked. Well, it's funny now that I fell in love when I was 17, and I was in this generation that really wanted to do things correctly. You wanted to make sure, just check it out. So I went to the Hall Health Center on the University of Washington campus and asked to speak to a psychiatrist. And this fellow sat there, and I told him, and he said, well, don't do it. It's very bad for you. You shouldn't do this. And I said, thank you very much, and of course went out and did it. But I had checked with a psychiatrist. And at the end of the next quarter, when I went to register for school, there was a medical hold on my registration. So I went over, what the hell, I don't have my shots or something. So I went over, and there was a psychiatric hold placed on my registration. So I was ushered in to see the head of the Hall Health Center, who told me, I'll never forget this, she said, you have to see a psychiatrist or you will not be allowed to register for school. And I asked her why, and she said, well, we want to keep the puppy dogs in your emotional life from becoming big dogs that will leap out and bite you later. So I made $70 a month, and shrinks were $50 an hour, figure it out. So every quarter, just before registration, I would call up a shrink, make an appointment, and have them send me a written appointment slip. Then I would take it over, register, tear the slip up, and go on about my business. And then finally, after 2 years, I got really smart, and I made an appointment with the same psychiatrist and went back and said, well, you were so helpful to me 2 years ago that I just wanted you to be the first to know that I'm married. And he's just a wonderful guy. And my mother loves him, and just fabulous. And I'm not sure if I'm going to stay in school or not, because I'll probably have kids right away. But it's really embarrassing for me to have to go over and go through this thing, all the time. If we go to register together, what am I going to tell him? Just, problem. That was the end of it. So these were every time you turned around, somebody was trying to figure out whether you were a queer or a commie. That was just it. We need more people. We need to make contact at work, through our unions. Every contact you have, we need to be raising issues of racism, sexism, homophobia, everything that divides us, and not let them get away with it anymore. We have more in common with each other, gay or straight, black or white, than we do with them. They're organized internationally. They have laws that keep us from being organized internationally. But all we have to do is say no. No system lasts longer than the first moment everyone just says, no, we won't do it anymore. And thank God we're coming back to that. And I am so glad that, I think before the year 2000 comes, we'll be back in the streets. But this time we'll also be doing more than just shouting and screaming. We'll be working with a multi-issue program that will just sweep this system away.